With only 2 installments left before the curtain falls,
Alamo
the
agreed to
6th episode of Euphoria Season 3 has officially marked the beginning of the end, delivering what is arguably the most brilliant, atmospheric, and psychologically devastating hour of the entire season. This episode operates like a tragic fable about the high cost of reinvention, meticulously exploring the illusion of self-betterment while the characters' past sins silently prepare to swallow them whole. From the dark, foundational backstory of Alamo and the deep-seated trauma that taught him never to trust another human being, to Cassie's hollow triumph on network television, and finally, to Rue's desperate, miraculous turn towards spiritual salvation in the desert, the narrative has shifted into a pitch-black direction. The underlying tension is no longer just about high school drama or broken relationships. It is a full-blown examination of survival, leverage, and the inescapable gravity of our choices. The final 2 episodes are setting up a collision course where no one escapes unscathed. And today, we are breaking down every unsettling layer of this magnificent episode to explain exactly why these character arcs are spiraling toward an absolute point of no return. Cassie's storyline in this episode serves as a haunting case study in how the world can hand you everything you think you want, only to use those exact gifts to completely destroy you. On the surface, she is experiencing an unprecedented wave of professional momentum, successfully monetizing her online content while working alongside Maddy at Alamo's club under the management of Kitty and Magic. This commercial success effortlessly translates into a mainstream Hollywood opportunity when she lands what was supposed to be a minor, single appearance role on a network television show. However, the moment the cameras roll, the reality of her unresolved trauma completely shatters the artificiality of the set. The scripted dialogue instantly mirrors the exact psychological warfare, gaslighting, and devastating betrayal she endured at the hands of Nate Jacobs, causing her to entirely abandon her lines and experience a visceral, unscripted emotional breakdown in front of the entire production crew. Instead of alienating the showrunners, this raw vulnerability captivates them. They see a profound narrative depth in her pain and decide to rewrite her character into a major, recurring role modeled after her real-life struggles of trying to escape a compromised past. Cassie is entirely fueled by an insatiable hunger for fame and validation, and the dream of being worshipped by millions on television is an anchor she refuses to let go of, even if it means exposing her deepest wounds to the world. But this sudden ascension to mainstream stardom demands an immediate, deeply symbolic sacrifice that sets a catastrophic legal trap for her behind the scenes. The network issues a strict ultimatum requiring her to permanently delete the independent online account where she sells her photos, forcing her to choose between immediate financial autonomy and the grand illusion of Hollywood prestige. Though she hesitates, she ultimately hits the delete button, expecting a crushing weight to lift from her shoulders, only to find a terrifying void, because the true consequences of that action are going to crash down upon her from a completely different direction. The narrative quietly calls back to the binding contract Cassie willingly signed with Maddy in the previous episode, an agreement that granted Maddy absolute managerial and financial control over her creative output. Simply deleting the account is not a clean break. It is a direct breach of contract that will drive an irreversible wedge into their fragile reconciliation, exposing the reality that Maddy is not acting as a supportive best friend, but rather as a calculating authority figure operating in the exact same cold, transactional sphere as Alamo himself. Cassie is now trapped in a vice where she cannot fulfill her network television obligations without facing ruinous legal and financial retaliation from Maddy, proving that the absolute control guaranteed by that contract will strip away her agency just as she is on the precipice of achieving her ultimate dream. The psychological horror of Cassie's reality reaches an absolute fever pitch when she returns to her apartment to discover a beautifully wrapped box containing a severed human finger, a grotesque, unmistakable token belonging to her husband, Nate Jacobs. This gruesome delivery serves as a multi-layered narrative warning, signaling that the criminal underworld has officially run out of patience with Nate's debts and liabilities, and because they are legally and socially bound together, Cassie is the next target on the execution list once they are finished dismantling him. But beneath the immediate terror of this threat, the discovery triggers a tragic, deeply entrenched emotional response within her, forcefully unearthing the reality that despite the abuse, the lies, and the catastrophic damage to her life, she is still completely, unconditionally in love with him. This horrifying escalation is the exact catalyst that could drive her straight back into his self-destructive orbit, uniting them in a desperate alliance as they both face total annihilation. Between the lethal physical violence closing in from Alamo's Syndicate and the looming threat of an absolute financial execution via Maddy's legal team, Cassie stands to lose every single piece of the life she tried so hard to reinvent, leaving her and Nate trapped in the exact same sinking ship. Simultaneously, Rue's narrative arc in this episode introduces a deeply profound, spiritually charged perspective that carries all the structural markings of an impending structural tragedy. We witness her undergoing a massive internal awakening, turning her back on the chaos of active addiction to search for a divine connection, culminating in an overwhelming, miraculous sign out in the isolation of the desert. She receives sudden, unexpected praise from her mother and validation from the drug administration, creating a fleeting illusion that her fractured life is finally aligning onto a secure, healthy path toward recovery. However, this apparent peace is a beautifully constructed mirage, because Rue is not operating in a vacuum. She is fundamentally trapped under the thumb of Alamo, who has just tasked her with an incredibly dangerous suicide mission to break into Laurie's fortified safe and recover the massive stash of cash and stolen merchandise taken during the recent club raid. The underlying dread of her situation manifests during a deceptively tender phone call with her mother inside a church, where their expressions of mutual love are immediately undercut by Bishop, revealing that he has paid her family a private visit because his trust in Rue has entirely evaporated. Whether this dangerous proximity to the criminal underworld results in Rue's physical death or the violent destruction of her family, the message is clear. The desperate pursuit of a better life will always demand a total, devastating payment of everything you hold dear. The narrative brilliantly correlates this tension through a series of heavy metaphorical discussions regarding rats, mice, and venomous snakes, establishing that Rue is currently playing an incredibly dangerous double game with the authorities that Alamo is fully beginning to see through. We learn the chilling backstory of how a younger Alamo was permanently shaped by watching his own con art mother systematically manipulate, deceive, and financially ruin a fundamentally good man named Preston, leaving him with an incurable lifelong mistrust of people, and specifically women. To ensure he never forgets this foundational lesson of human betrayal, Alamo bought a predatory snake as a living, breathing testament to the reality that even the entities you nurture and care for are constantly sizing you up as a potential meal. Rue is currently functioning as the ultimate snake in his house, desperately trying to manipulate the DEA and the Syndicate alike solely to secure her own survival and avoid a lifetime behind bars, entirely unaware that Alamo already perceives her as a rat within his ranks. When Laurie proposes a massive, high-stakes border smuggling operation utilizing Alamo's private fleet of ambulances to secure one final lifetime payout before retiring, Alamo willingly agrees to the partnership, only to practice the ancient doctrine of keeping your enemies closer. He is fully preparing to double-cross her because she has already attempted to play him, applying the cold, ruthless wisdom inherited from her mother's original sins to ensure he strikes down every threat before it can compromise his empire. This thematic collision of divine intervention and predatory violence beautifully coalesces during the episode's breathtaking final sequence, where Rue is driving through the dark expanse of the desert while listening to an audio version of the Bible. The vehicle's audio system begins to violently glitch and stutter right before she is nearly obliterated in a catastrophic near miss with a massive passing truck, a terrifying jolt that forces her to stop her car and step out into the vast, quiet wilderness. There, out in the barren sands, she comes face to face with a literal burning bush, a direct historical and spiritual manifestation of Exodus chapter 3, signifying the miraculous moment where the divine first broke the silence to speak with Moses. Shaken to her very core by this impossible survival and the undeniable presence of something greater than herself, Rue drops to her knees in absolute submission, interpreting this cosmic event as a definitive path to total salvation and forgiveness for the mountain of past sins that continue to haunt her. But while she is on her knees looking for God, she is entirely blind to the reality that she has already made her bed with the devil in the form of Alamo, and the devil never exits a life without claiming an unpayable bloody toll. By utilizing her mother as an explicit piece of leverage, Bishop and Alamo now possess the ultimate kill switch to keep Rue entirely on track for their upcoming war with Lori,